I'm thankful that I found a place where I didn't feel like an outsider. I am Davey Hoskins. I was a patron. Went to lots of shows there. Played there a bunch of times, different bands. I guess the same way everybody was associated with the place. It was supposed to be country bluegrass blues, but whatever it stood for, none of that ever really happened there. It was just kind of, I think it was Hilly's dream. I guess dreams change after time. A lot of bands that went on to become huge started there. It was kind of like a dive bar, Bowery Dive Bar. Tom Verlaine and Richard Hell, I think, were walking by, and they asked Hilly if they could play there on the television. That was the first show. And then after that, it grew organically. When the first time I went there, I was I think I was a freshman in high school, and looked like I was 13, and I was just afraid I was going to get thrown out. What I realized, though, is for a place that was so intimidating and this was it was 1979. It was probably the first time I ever went there. For being so intimidating just by knowing what happened there, but then you get there and it was nothing intimidating about it. It was actually a place where I felt really comfortable, probably for the first time in my life. I remember I went there, I think my sister took me there to see the Ramones. It must have been freshman year, but when I saw them there, being a kid with limited means in New Jersey, couldn't really get to New York very often, so I would always read the ads and see who was playing, see who I was missing. Billy Crystal was, even though this was all his own doing, I always felt like he was kind of thrown into it somehow. Like somebody threw him in the door and take care of this place now. He didn't fit, but nothing fit there, which is kind of the fun part about him. He always seemed like some guy you'd imagine living up in New York State somewhere. And here he was in this dingy little club in New York City. He loved it though. Yeah, I thank you, Hilly, for giving us that place.
You get your frustrations out listening to the music here instead of anywhere else, right? Why are you frustrated? Everyone is.
The crowd who went there, it was different. The hardcore thing was basically restricted to Sunday afternoons. And we were kind of like the kids, because CB's had been there a while already. And you had the old school kind of punk rock guys. I remember thinking they were old, but they were probably in their 30s. We never felt in danger there. It was great. New York was a dangerous place back then. They, especially at the hardcore shows, they're very lenient with us. It was kind of a good place to go through your teens. The whole thing too with the hardcore scene too taught everybody. The whole DIY thing came from that, because we were playing music that nobody ever thought would be popular. So everybody did everything themselves. There were people making magazines. There's people became booking agents because we couldn't go to the mainstream anything. At that time, you played that kind of stuff for the mainstream. They didn't even know what it was. What is this? It's not, at least punk rock was rock. It had a beat you could follow. What is this crazy screaming? Because of that, everybody in cities all over the country, all over the world, were making this little network. I guess it's easier today with the internet and everything, but back then, it all happened anyway. I think everybody who was involved should be really proud of that, because it wasn't easy back then. Even today, it's still, that little network is still there. There were so many different little scenes and groups of different bands that played there. I remember seeing bands progress there in front of your eyes. I think like they showed a lot of people that the tried and true way isn't the only way to make art. I realized from that I prefer the roundabout backdoor method to everything now. And everything I do, just from being in the hardcore scene, it taught me how to work your way into something and make a network for yourself. I remember walking to CB's when I got to the block. I don't know, it's like almost like being home. You know, there was always something very authentic and almost like a mom and pop. It was like a mom and pop store, but it was like also the coolest place to play in New York City. It impacted it by giving people a place to try new things. It means a lot to me. If you're a young person making music, find a place where you can play and be bad, maybe. You know, a place where you can go and with half-hatched ideas and unfinished songs and just go and play in front of people. It's like, that's what CB's was for me. You realize that you don't have to be like the greatest musician or have the most original ideas. You have to have the energy and put on a good show, and that was the place to learn how to do that. My last memory, we played like when they were closing the next month. I was walking into CB's. At this point, the smoking ban in clubs has been in effect for a while. I remember walking in there and going, smells weird in here. My friend I was with said, it's because you can't smoke here anymore. I'm like, huh, it smells like kind of fresh, like, you know, I'm sure it still stunk. But anyway, we played a show there, and still the same place. I just remember being really sad looking around, thinking like, it's going to be gone. Since I was 16, it was here. I remember playing the last show there, and I'm like, I'm going to miss this place. Kind of like seeing your childhood home torn down or something. You know, while we were coming here today, we drove past where it was, and it's still like, it's sad. I guess we still have memories and photographs.
Long ago,
lots of photographs.
I walked alone.
Yep. So, but that was my last.
Streets. And as I walked, with my head held high, my heart, it was filled